But the next question we had was, tell us about you and how you think and see your vision as a leader in the neighborhood of Mount Washington and Glassell Park.
Specifically in this area, like what are the local needs that...
Yeah, what are the things that are important to you, like the hillside development?
Right.
And...
Well, okay. Anyone who's run for office or who's worked with someone who runs for office and has done the amount of door-to-door phone banking, emailing, can just tell you, clearly in this area, open space development is a big deal. We're going to redo all of our community plans here, we're told, in the next 6 years in Los Angeles. So making sure that all the RE11 zoned lots on this, that are contiguous lots in this hillside are rezoned open space or rezoned something so that it is very hard or restrictive to develop them, and it'd be nice to convert them to some kind of passive hiking trails and parkland. These are just local issues from the neighborhood. There are code enforcement problems with existing construction where they're clearly violating the law and facing no penalties, and there are street paving issues, which is all over the city, but here are some really serious ones. And then really the fact that we've had a very unresponsive council office, but that's something that has resonated across this district. So, but that's kind of my stump speech. I think many of you probably heard versions of that. In Chinatown, there's another group of issues, and I usually finish that as well with the other council office that will answer your call. Because that's what this campaign fundamentally has been about basic civic services, and a council member who has been the donut guy, the guy that shows up at work, pulls out the newspaper, eats a donut, the phone rings, kind of takes his time all day, and goes home at the end of the day without having done anything. That's kind of who we've had at the helm. And I've tried to build not just a policy platform, but a campaign that is insulated from all the interests that keep that guy in power, that keep all of them in power, because they don't necessarily face any legitimate backlash from the community. Everyone else running these races got beaten, blown out of the water, 60, 70% of the vote. And the reason why we were able to do this is because the people here today made phone calls, talked to your neighbors, knocked on doors. That's a very real thing in this new era. We got outspent 5-6 to 1. The people that have gotten involved in this campaign for the incumbent are no joke. They're the Democratic Party people that did not come from Gil's organic network of power. These are people that know how to spend all that Chevron money, know how to spend all that DART polystyrene money, and it's hard to know how to face that and still talk about street paving and protecting walnut trees. But fundamentally, for this neighborhood, those are the issues at the Southwest Museum, the mural for the Southwest Museum, making sure the Lemus home is open and operating again in some capacity. These are the type of local issues that I've run this race on, and unfortunately have been completely sidetracked and derailed for a narrative that has sold page views, that has gotten click-through, and that has seen my campaign shed all the volunteer effort and power that took over a year to build up. And it's been crushing. I wish I'd had a better response formulated, and I wish I was a better person in some way. It's hard to know where to begin sometimes when you're this close to the deadline, the finish line. There are 13 days left that could potentially decide the next 10 years of our lives in this city. And we're faced with some very hard choices. And so if you have another question, I'd be happy to move forward. I know this
the next question was, and you may have touched on this a little, what are the 5 major issues in the council district, and how will you address those issues?
Right. Again, many of you have heard my standard stump speech, so I'll be very quick. Housing is a huge issue here. Homelessness is another massive one tied to housing. In the southern part of the district, street crime. All over the city, violent crime is on the rise. It's like 70%, 69% since 2013. So in the southern part of the district, it's a big deal. There's a lot of car theft, robberies, assaults. Now there's under-reporting because the immigrant community is afraid to report things because they're afraid of the police again. There are also a number of larger environmental issues that people like to talk about. I for one, feel that those are incredibly significant fights worth having that have to do, again, with protecting open space, air quality, water quality. But at the day-to-day level, there's a lot of basic street safety and street design issues that are just simply not being addressed for thousands and thousands of people that live in this district. And then finally, there's the economic imbalance that's pushing the gentrification of a lot of parts of Los Angeles. And I feel like getting the city divested from the major corporate banks through our credit default swaps, which will take a longer time. Maybe just moving some of the city's banking and checking accounts to a small credit union or starting a municipal bank. Again, these are longer-term issues that go to the root of the economic inequality that's running through our economy right now, and addressing a lot of the basic reasons why I think so many of you are here tonight. But I think everybody's here is looking for something a little more specific about the news last week. So I don't know if that's a part of your Q&A, but.